I'm like, that's how I sound.
That's how you sound.
Is that good or bad? Like, I don't know. It's weird. All the sounds, the breaths, the breathiness.
It's gonna get cleaned up.
Cleaned
Mm-hmm. With a wash rag and soap and water.
up. Wash rag.
Yeah, a wash rag. You know I'm country.
Yeah, I know all about the wash rags. Wash rag.
Did y'all used to do wash ups?
I call them hoe baths.
Hoe.
Yeah, hoe baths.
Hold on, how they go from bird baths to hoe baths?
Because, you think about, like, when, you're doing your little creeping, your little thing, and then, like, you got to wash up real quick. You don't have time to take a whole shower. It's like, hurry up and do what you need to do so you can go and take a quick whole bath.
So you're not taking a whole shower, but you're taking a
whole bath. Exactly. Whole bath.
Okay, whole bath. All right, so what are we talking about today?
I figured this would be a great time to talk about the holidays. Now that we're in the full swing of it, and I feel like no one is ever prepared, even though we go through this every year. It hits you, and then you're just like shopping and in lines and gifts and parties and places you don't really want to be. But it's the holidays, and family is supposed to be together. And the funny part about it, no matter how dysfunctional your family is, everybody feels like we need to get together. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about the holidays.
And just navigating it and the pros, the cons, the good, the bad.
This is a great time. But I'm not cooking. I'm just eating this shit.
I don't like the ones that the only thing they bring is their appetite. They don't bring a plate, a cup, a fork.
So let's talk about that real quick, right? Mm-hmm. Because we all, this podcast is about diversity. Mm-hmm. And we love to talk about how different people are doing the same things in different ways.
Exactly.
So when it comes down to the eating, because this is very important. Because my grandmother always said the way to a man's heart is through food, and if your food is nasty, you out the door. And when it comes down to the holidays, the food has to be on point. And so, with us going into this conversation, we have to talk about the differences between what different people like to eat.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I see where you're going.
But I understand that we could probably have diverse tables when it comes down to Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be about giving thanks. Mm-hmm. Thanksgiving. And I do give thanks to everybody that cooks. I do give thanks to all the food that's prepared on the table. I do not give thanks to the nasty food. And so right now, I would love to talk about the don'ts of what goes on that table. Green bean casserole, first thing on the list, get it out of here. I'm sorry, diverse people. We don't do the green bean casserole on my table. How about you?
No, I don't think I've ever, my mom experimented last year with a dish that had green beans in it. And
wait a minute, it had green beans in it?
There was green beans there, but then there was like this other like white congealed substance. Like it makes you think like maybe like, when you cook something in grease and like it cooled off and it starts to like solidify. But like it was warm, but it just was not, I don't know if that was supposed to be a sauce. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good. And she was very proud of it, and she kept putting it out on the table, and like at various points people would see it and they would just move it back to the kitchen.
Yo, why did I just get bubble guts and I ain't even eat it?
Yeah, it wasn't good. And
it's like when you're eating crabs and you got the butter on the side, and then it starts to congeal, and the server is like,
what do you want me to do?
And I'm like, yeah, new butter.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's kind of like what it was, and like nobody ate it. And then my mom guilted me into trying a string bean, and when I did it, I was like, and she bust out laughing, and then she goes, I didn't eat it, I didn't try it, but I wanted to say at least someone ate it. And I said, all the hard work that I've done to cook all this food, and then you make me be the one to eat it. And so she's like, why did they keep moving it? And I was like, well, I know I moved it a few times, so I didn't want anyone to mistake and think I made it and be like, oh, Tiffany's slipping. I was like, it just didn't look ready. It didn't look like, I don't know. I said, then I was like, why would you wait? One, you're not the cook. You're not known for your cooking. why would you wait till Thanksgiving to be like, oh, I'm gonna make this dish, and then to find out she's like, well, that's how it came. I'm like, that's how it came. Like, you didn't even make, you just.
Moms tried to set y'all up.
It was gross. It was disgusting.
But we're not gonna put moms out on blast like that though, because I'm sure there's other stuff that she made that was good that day.
I cooked everything else.
Including that green bean thing.
No, except
you did
that.
cook that. You cooked it. Don't be trying to blame mom for that.
I would You would never see me associated with a nasty dish that was not improperly cooked. I don't even think the string beans were done all the way. Like, they kind of had like a crunch to them.
Oh, they was French.
Okay. We can do that, but no, green bean casserole normally is not on the list. I don't know what my mom was thinking at that time, but normally I'm at the point I'm tired of traditional. So like I'm gonna have something you typically wouldn't see on there. I'm not big on turkey. Like I know people just think like, oh, it's a requirement, it's a prerequisite. You gotta have a turkey, but I'm like nobody. Either someone's gonna go for the white meat, you know, there's a select few who will go for the dark meat, but it's gonna like dry out. It's gonna, after a while, you're just like, I don't want it. And really by like, well, when you cook by like day 2, you're over. You don't even care about the leftovers. No, I think the holidays and the food, one I can say, like, I think we kind of talked about this earlier about like just nutrition and stuff. And I realized there's such a stark difference between the way I cook and how, like, my parents and the other adults, the older adults in the family cooked back in the day. Mm-hmm. It was very unhealthy. Like, everything was, like, high in fat, high in sodium. Just, like, you know, it's like, are we really tasting the food or are we just tasting the salt?
I mean, I don't know. That food was banging back in the day.
Yes, it was. And especially when you don't know any better. Yeah. You're like, oh, but then as you get older, now that, you know, this is healthy, now we're more conscious in, you know, lowering your sodium levels and, you know, fresher ingredients. And
it's interesting that you say that because, you know, we all go through periods of time where we're conscious about what we're eating and we call ourselves going on diets, right?
I'm not a dieter.
I'm not a dieter either. And that's what I've learned. You know, we have learned that about each other. And yet we did have that conversation. And I think that it's important for people to understand what you're putting into those foods you're putting into your body. And so, again, being diverse in thought, diverse in mind, diverse in cooking. You know, there's certain ways that you can cook to where it does taste good without all of the lard and without all of the salt. The one thing that I did learn, you don't have to cook with salt.
No, you don't.
You should actually salt after you cook.
I'm more of a salt to taste. Like I will cook something with very little sodium, but then I'll say, hey, add in like, if you want more.
Exactly.
But I mean, I will include salt.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Going back to
the turkey. Okay. And you said it's not a necessity. It's not a necessity for me either. And I think that as I talk to more and more people, it's less about the meats and it's more about the sides.
That's where it's at. It's the side because, okay, there's meat and you're not going to eat like how like you would have a bunch of different sides, a little bit of stuffing, a little bit of rice, cabbage, greens, or whatever. You're not going to have like a plate just full of meat. And really, to me, I feel like the meat is the side.
That's me too.
And the sides are the main. So like, you know, you got some greens and you got a potato salad or rice or like I'm gonna eat the sides, mashed potatoes, and like the meat will be like the very last thing I think of, you know. So like, you know, there's always like normally there would be a turkey and a ham. Like I don't really do ham, so like I'm just like, okay, I can do without that. And if I do the ham, it's a very particular part. It's like the edges that are like kind of burnt, kind of crispy, like that part. But like when you start to get in, I'm like, okay.
I love that piece of ham that's right on the corner and it's crisp and it like even the honey baked ham. Yeah. Getting that little piece that's caramelized. And
that's the best part.
It's a little hard. And
it's almost kind of like, it reminds you of like bacon a little bit, but like, after a while. And so for me, because I do a lot of the cooking, by the time it's time for everyone to eat, I don't have an appetite. And like some would say, oh, it's because, you've probably been tasting and sampling. And I'm like, no. I was like, I know the food is good, but I'm tired.
I might have to hold on. You've been real confident in this conversation about your food. I haven't gotten no plates. What's going on?
I can definitely make you a plate and save.
Can you save me a plate from?
Yeah, I can do that.
You sure your family is gonna be okay with that?
Yeah.
There's
sure? Always leftovers. There's always plenty of food. So like,
I don't want your father talking about. I ain't even meet this dude yet. He eating my food already.
No, you good. It's always plenty. Because what happens is that everyone comes over, they eat, but then at some point the next day they're trickling back through. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, let me get. I'm like, you made a plate before you left last night. I ate that this morning, but
So what's your So are you the one that prepares the food for the holidays?
Yes. And so the thing that I'm trying to get out of is that I've gotten out of hosting it at my home because that's a lot to cook, have to get the house together. And then also because I'm like one of the only ones who drives. So then I have to then go pick up people. And it's just a nonstop thing. And so now I'm at the point like my mom will host it, but somehow I know her hosting it means Tiffany has to cook or needs to help. Or in the past, if my cousin has hosted it, I still would have to come over and help him because, like, he had this one cookout where, like, that was the last time he hosted anything, but he got caught up in all the wrong details. So it was summertime. He got, like, these tents put out in the backyard. He had, like, cans of off for, like, everybody. Like, he was, like, caught up in that. And so when we got there, like, the food wasn't ready. And, like, for me, that's a big no-no. Like, when you host and people come over, food must be ready. Not sitting around, not waiting. It may be some things that may be, like, a little last minute this, but it should be something available. And, like, we showed up at this cookout and he had bought a grill. Grill was still sitting in the box in the backyard, had not set the grill up. And at the time, my dad was like in a wheelchair. He had like some surgery down on his ankle, and he's in the wheelchair, and he's like, "What's going on? Like, where's the food?" So he's sitting there putting together the grill. Him and my brother, and my dad and my brother got the grill started, and we were so hungry that by the time like one burger would come off the grill, someone was like, "That's mine, that's mine, that's mine." It was just such a mess to the point that like everybody was like, "I'm hungry." Like so everybody was trying to leave so they could. He was like, "Where are you guys going?" We're like, "No," like everybody wanted to go eat, or having like the aunt who does not cook well, and so you learn to eat before you come. And I've definitely done that. Been like, no, come on, y'all, let's eat before we go. Mm-hmm. So that when, you can nibble on some chips, look like you ate something. And
I think everybody has that aunt that wants to do a lot, or that mom that's like, oh, this is my specialty. It's good. And then they put the thing out there, and like you said, it might be some congealed green beans.
Or like, why does it look like you boiled all the meat?
Right. Boiled the meat with no salt.
Like, why is it gray?
So when you talk about making sure that the food is ready, like you will have the entire Thanksgiving on the table when people get there. So what time is your dinner set for usually?
So normally for us, because like our family is more like no one's gonna be showing up at like 2, 3. So like normally everybody shows up around like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. That's when everybody comes through. And except now that like the uncles and aunts are getting older, like 1 year, like 2 years ago, my uncle showed up at like 11 a.m.
He was there to help set up.
He was bringing some stuff over.
Okay.
But then he was just like around, and I'm like trying to. So then he's like, "You sure you're gonna get everything done?" And So, and I'm like, "I got this." And so I had to give him a job. I was like, "Can you go pick up my parents for me?"
Okay.
So by the time he came back, everything was set up in the sternum. And everything was ready to go. It was heated up. And that year, I didn't want to. Well, we did a turkey. My mom wanted a turkey, and so she ended up getting one from Popeyes. And I was like, okay, So we just had to put it in the oven and let it brown up. But I did like a smothered pork chop. And then my mom's like, nobody ate the turkey. I said, because it's something different, and so we did that. But for me, food must be on time. It must be ready when guests arrive. I always think through at the end when it's time for people to go. So typically, like when I host, I always have like those to go trays because I something about like piling food on a plate and then you're trying to like put another plate on top of it and then wrap it in foil. Where it's like, no, here are these to go containers, or like you can go to the Dollar Tree and get like the little cheapy plastic containers, but nobody's get like the little like paper like food trays. But yeah, I'm just very efficient. I'm just like, this is going to be this, and this. It's planned out. Um, People know when it's time to go because I will start cleaning up.
You putting people out. Do people stay to watch the games? Like, are y'all a football family?
Yeah, like they will watch the games. They will. But a lot of times it's music playing and we're talking and what song is that, and or I got this song. And so for us it's really like I can't say like we really do engage each other and we're talking and it's not like everyone's just into the game. Like the game may be on in the background, but a lot of times the music is up louder than the game and everyone's into the music. And
so it's really, a family. It's really y'all engaging with each other and...
Yes, until like, the alcohol gets involved. And this the thing is, it's not like it's fights. It's just like, you will always have that one family member that they're just like, how much has he had?
Yeah.
Because now either he's talking way too much or now he's starting to imagine fake beefs that like did not exist. And then, but like for the most part, like my dad gets very mellow and he just like sits back and like just watches the room. And my uncle gets silly and he's cutting up and dancing and acting funny. Like he's the one who was like, oh, this food, all of it just terrible, all of it, But yeah, it's very limited because depending on who's there. Now, like if the people who are the problem when it comes to alcohol, like, it'll be free flowing, but like if the one or the two show up with the issues, it's like, it's limited. And then everyone's like, hey, where's the drink? So either people know, like, let's drink up before. And then like,
So do you do a BYOB or you supply everything?
No.
The host should have everything, right?
No.
Because I know back in the day, we used to have cousins that had their little flask or fifth, because grandma didn't play. Grandma there is no drinking in this house. It was a church house.
Oh, yeah.
That was a church house back in the day. There's no, do the church houses still exist like that?
No, because I feel like Big Mama doesn't exist anymore.
Because even my uncle passed away last year, and I'm going down there. We go down there. Me and my daughter go down there every single year, and that is the house that everybody goes to. And he passed away last year, and we're continuing the tradition, but he was a minister, and you don't drink in his house. But there was an upstairs, so everybody went upstairs. Now he knew.
Yeah, we call it taking a little nip. And like my mom and her sister, they weren't opposed to a nip. You had a little nip. And so for us, it's always for now as an adult, I do not like eggnog.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
And the only time I will drink eggnog, if there's a nip in it, the kind with like a little dark liquor in it. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Oh, that's the only way I'm drinking eggnog. And I got to be close to a bathroom.
Yeah, but the regular eggnog, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, there's no benefit from this.
Right, you're right.
So question is, I think I've told you this before, like when, a lot of times when people come to your home, like they will customarily like bring a bottle of wine or something or cider or whatever. Does that stay with the host at the end of the night when it's time to go, or are people free to just grab whatever wasn't opened and be like, I'm gonna take this cider, I'm gonna take this bottle of wine back with me?
No.
Okay.
The rule is everything stays with the host unless you ask, hey, I reuse these bags. Can I take the bag back?
And that's fine.
Correct.
But
you can't take
the bottle back.
Back.
No one drunk it.
I'm taking it to the next party.
I'm like, no, this is a gift for the host.
It's a gift for the event.
For the event.
And the event happened at that location. And so that location inherits everything.
Okay.
It also inherits the fights that's about to happen. It inherits the shits that are taken in the rooms, in the bathrooms.
Yes.
It inherits the kids and the dogs and whatever else throwing up everywhere. All of that. The trash that's getting taken out.
Yeah.
It's all of
But
that.
see,
So
I'm just very like one.
that's tacky.
A
That's
thing-
real tacky.
It is, and
That's ghetto.
yes, and
That's trifling.
I've been at a family function where that has happened,
Oh, I'm sure.
and we were like, wait a minute, no, put those back. Now you can make a plate to go.
Yeah.
We can't eat all this food, but you're not about to.
Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. To go. Should you bring your own to-go container expecting something to go?
I do think it's tacky when people bring their own containers. So now I'm like, you're being greedy, and you're like, oh, the little plate that you would have made it on ain't enough, so now I need to.
Yeah. So as the host, does that mean now you need to supply your household with to-go containers?
So no, that's a personal preference. I will have that because you know you go to Costco and just get like a whole big thing of them, and then those last a while. You can use them through like Christmas, Thanksgiving, what's that, Memorial Day cookouts and all that. But I think no, never show up with your own containers. That's to me tacky. Two, I'm like I personally like to provide the containers, but also I'm like you can just make a plate. Put one on top and wrap foil in it. And
But that's what I'm saying. So you're suggesting that there should be some paper plates or something.
there will be paper plates. There's always paper plates because I'm like, I want to minimize the dishes.
What about the old Chinese food containers?
Well, now I will like if I have them because everybody has them. I'll be like, hey, just put it.
I can't stand those things. I throw them shits away. Like we had Chinese food the other night.
Yeah, you threw it out.
Oh yeah, them containers were in the trash. I don't hold those.
Like,
People that know me know.
I keep them because I know that like there's a point where I will be hosting something, and
I don't
then
want to store them. That's
no,
it.
it's fine. It works for me because I can use them to store things throughout the. But then,
And then they be all crooked and sideways in the cupboard, and I be like, "What the fuck?" And then I open up the cupboard, and they be falling all on me.
I
Like,
keep them because then I don't mind at the end. It's like
dealing
you know
with
how
that.
how you have your good Tupperware.
yeah, in
And, like,
1992, I had good.
Well, see, this is how you know.
Not no more.
I'm aging myself because you call everything that's a plastic container Tupperware.
Yeah, it's
You're
like
oh,
tissue
get
and
the
Kleenex.
Yeah, get the Tupperware out the thing, even
Yeah.
though it's not Tupperware. But
Yeah.
so like you know like how you have like those clear containers with like the little sealed lids, and I'm like those are good. I love those. I'm not about to let you walk out of here with those.
No. Oh,
So
no.
you're gonna get the little Chinese carryout one and
Yeah.
put your food in that, and you can go with
Yeah,
it.
I mean those containers you talking about was like 3 for $10. No.
Yeah, that's
if they
why-
cost more than $1,
Yes, and so
you're
that
not
is
taking those from me. I'm
why
sorry.
I you know I'm like
I
you
grew
can-
up poor.
Yeah, I'm like, you can use the little carry-out ones. You're not taking my good one. I'm
Yeah,
gonna bring
because-
it back. No, you're not.
Yeah, because theoretically, the Chinese food ones were free. It came with the meal.
Yes, I
I
paid
don't care
for
what
it.
you say. I mean, I understand inflation and the prices of the Chinese food went up.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I ain't paid for that container. It was free.
Like,
And
how else you gonna
every
put it in my
time-
hand?
Every time I get Chinese food, I get a brand new one. You think I'm gonna keep all of them containers?
No, you don't
Tiffany?
keep all of them.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't keep. And one, I don't really order a lot of Chinese food
Right, I
anyway.
do.
But like, you know, when I have like the little, you know, reusable containers from like food or something, I will just like hold on to it, and I'll be like, here. And sometimes they come in handy, like when you have something and you don't want to use like one of your big containers, but it's like just enough. Just let me just pop it in here,
Mhm.
put it in the fridge. So I tend to do that. Like, you know, my kids are bad about like eating something and then like I'm gonna come back to it, and so I'll just put it in one of the little containers and be like, all right, it's in there when you're ready, you know.
So speaking of eating and coming back to it, going back to the holidays, I remember back in the day, my father and my uncle, one of the many uncles that would come through, they would always sit there and eat, right? They would eat that first plate, they eat that second plate, start on that third plate, and then they just hit this.
Somebody about to take a boo.
And then they like, you know what? No, don't touch that plate. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm coming back to it. That plate sit there till about 8:30 that night. and they sitting there, do you ever go away from the plate and come back to it on the holidays? Because I learned from them, and I used to do that.
No, I always start out. That's the thing. So this is to me the best way. Like when it's time to eat, don't get overwhelmed or like, oh, there's so many, and then you put all this shit on your plate, and then you're not going to eat it. Because I'm always like, you can always go back for more, but once you've made that plate, and then you decide you don't want it, now you're wasting food.
Hold on. Are you? Are there certain foods that you can't mix on the plate when you make a plate? Because I am very strategic when I make my Thanksgiving plate. This is how my first plate goes every time. No fail. Call me out on it. It's if I decide I want a meat, I'm gonna put a little sliver of the meat, usually turkey meat. I'm gonna have my mashed potatoes. I'm gonna have my.
I don't want anything to touch my mashed potatoes.
But see, I love it, right? I got my mashed potatoes. I got my stuffing. I got my gravy on both of those. If there's some deviled eggs, I probably have already eaten those in the line. You know what I'm saying? And it's always a line for the food. And so I will get that, my mashed potatoes, my stuffing, and then what else will we have? Candy yams. I'll put those on there because I do like the sweet and savory of Thanksgiving.
That's the best part.
Sometimes, and I have to be in the mood. That cranberry sauce.
Yeah. Now,
I hated cranberry sauce as a kid. I was like, what is that?
It's like, it's tart.
And I used to see it sitting on the table and nobody was touching it. It might be like one little corner scooped off, and I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm definitely not eating that.
To me, it's artificial that you have that canned.
You have to. It's got to sit there.
Slice it.
Yes.
You know, because that's like everything. People like, oh, like they will see it on their plate, and somehow it melds well with the stuffing.
I'm gonna tell you something real quick. Okay, so that's my first plate, and then I'm gonna have a bowl, and in that bowl is gonna be my greens. If they have some good green beans, not that congealed stuff that y'all fucking with. I'm talking about.
Nobody was fucking with that.
I'm talking about real green. You know, if they got some green beans with the hog maw in there, you know, the turkey neck or something like that, I'll throw that in the bowl alongside, because it's usually the same damn base as the collard greens, right? So I'll put those together in a separate bowl. That's my first slide, right? The next time I come through, I'm getting more. Oh, I forgot my macaroni and cheese.
To me, for my family, macaroni and cheese is actually the main.
That's the centerpiece.
Yes. It's not the turkey. It's the mac and cheese.
Because that macaroni, the colors on it, how it glistens, and you got a little bit of darkness on there, a little bit. You got the cheese,
and it's brown.
Oh, girl.
So that's the thing. And the funny part about it is that I realized I took that. I guess that honor of making the mac and cheese from my cousin.
Ooh, when you get the mac and cheese honor, that means you are like.
Because I started out.
You are at the top of the family totem pole right now. If you are responsible for macaroni and cheese on any given holiday, or if anybody asks you to make macaroni and cheese for their birthday, you are the matriarch.
But
you are at the top.
You're like a national treasure. You have to be protected.
Yes.
So then, one year, it was something where we didn't even know he was coming or not, but I made the mac and cheese, and everybody was like, "Oh, what is who made this? And they was like, "Oh, Tiffany made it." And then people started just saying, "Oh my God!" And so they were talking about it the next day, and then the next year came around, and then someone just flat out was like, "Are you making the macaroni and cheese, Tiffany?" And then it just turned into a thing. And then my cousin would be like, "All right, he ought to give me pointers or something." I was like, "No, I got it. I'm good." And they say, "It's creamy. It's this. It's cheesy. It's." So I started out just doing potato salad. That was my thing. I'd make the potato salad. And I had an aunt who didn't like mayonnaise, so I would always make a bowl of it without the mayonnaise. She liked all the other stuff that went into it. I just don't like mayonnaise. So I would always make a special one for her, because she was just like, I just don't like the consistency of mayonnaise. I don't like the smell of it. So hers is kind of like what I call like a dry mashed potato, like, you know.
Yeah, that's basically what that is.
But it had all the flavors. It had all the things. But you know, and like it had like the relish in it, and like a little bit of mustard. Oh, she just like can't get down with mayonnaise.
Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
I would always make that just for her, and then so I was on that for a long time, and then from there, it was like, oh, are you gonna make it? Are you gonna make the potato salad? And I'm like, oh, okay, been doing that since I was 12. Kind of regret ever showing interest in making it because then it just snowballed into like, oh, you can do mac and cheese. Or then I started like doing like, you know, the dressing, and like they always do with like a sausage, and I'm not always great with sausage, so I started making a chicken version, like, and doing that, and I learned that in the South. So when I came back, I was like, and you can make that with cornmeal. So it just started slowly morphing, and so now here we are.